morning. Welcome to Unity of Kanawha Valley. We begin our service with the ringing of the bell and the lighting of the Christ candle. We ring the bell and we light the candle as a reminder of the Christ light that shines in each and every one of us. If you would, you will find our opening statement at the top of the inside of your bulletin, and let's repeat that together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And sit with that truth for just a moment. Allow it to anchor into your heart. And repeat it with me once more. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. Our songs this morning are led by Ron and accompanied by Jeff, I'm sorry. All these J names.
Good morning. Would you please stand? We'll sing Surely the Presence, which is right inside your front cover.
While the way
Love, joy, and peace. That's what we're about here at Unity. So that's a great song for us this morning, Ron. Our announcements this morning, we do collect luggage and backpacks for the children at the Davis shelter so that as they make their transition from the shelter into homes, they have something to put their belongings in. Just call Pam and you can arrange a time to drop them off here at the church. And then Dewey Lester sees to it that they get to the shelter. Oh, Danny?
Dewey also goes to a lot of yard sales and buys them at a cheap price. And he gets school supplies for sojourners at yard sales.
Oh, good idea. So if you're a person who's into yard sailing, look for these gently used luggage and backpacks and school supplies. There are people who need them, and that if that's a need we can fill, then we are more than happy to do that. For sojourners this month, they're requesting. There we go. The Sojourner Shelter is requesting snacks for the kids and powdered drinks. We have a barrel down at the bottom of the stairs here in the activity room, and you can put those donations there, or there again, just call Pam and arrange a time to drop them off here at the church. And she gets them. Okay, I don't know what's going on.
Here you go. Here, I'll fix it.
We'll trade.
Try this.
Okay.
Stretch
I can hold this for me a minute and I'll go get my,
I'll be your microphone stand.
thank you. Thank you. You make an excellent mic stand. Okay. Anyway, the donations for sojourners, Pam gets them from here to the shelter. She says they are always so appreciative of the gifts that they receive. The book study group is meeting on Zoom at 7 o'clock. That's every Thursday night. Still in the integrity book, Barbie, do you know? And we're still in the book by Martha Beck about integrity. And this Wednesday, the Unravel group that is led by Barbie will meet at 5:15. She does request that if you want to attend, you're more than welcome, whether or not you've attended another one of these. It's a journaling class, but she likes to make sure she has plenty of supplies for everyone who shows up. So. Yeah, or make sure she puts out enough chairs. But this is a very, it says here, thank you. It's a safe, if I can read and walk, it's a safe, supportive atmosphere to promote self-awareness and self-expression for the purpose of connecting, learning, growing, and making friends. And it is a wonderful group. I don't get to go every time, but when I do get to go, I'm always so glad that I attended, and I love all the people there. It's good to get to know them. Yes, it's very, very easy. It is. So if you'd like a chance to get to know some other people, this is a great opportunity, as well as get to know yourself a little better. And for the summer, our office hours here at the church, rather than being typical business hours, will be from 9 to 1. Is that Monday through Friday, Pam? 9 to 1, Monday through Friday. So just to give you a heads up, if you're planning on coming here to the church, those are the hours to do it during the week. And I believe that's all the announcements I have. Anyone else have anything? Okay, I am going to turn it over to Sharon, who is going to lead us in prayer and meditation.
Yeah. Good morning. Let us just take a moment to relax into your chair, to take a deep breath, to just close your eyes in a peaceful moment, and just surround and enfold each person who is here today, who is listening today, in your love. In the cool of the morning, when it is quiet, I walk outside to pick up the daily newspaper. Sometimes I survey my gardens, checking for their beauty and sometimes the damage that the critters have done. And I just breathe in that peace and finish my tour. When I am planning to work outside, I gear up with safety equipment and tools before I begin my work. I enjoy and find great pleasure in being outdoors, and I am inspired by nature. This is a time when I feel very, very filled with the divine, and I celebrate the beautiful gifts in my yard that I enjoy. I take this time to slow down and to breathe in the air and consider what a blessing it is to live where I do. I want to share this meditation this morning that inspired me from Wayne Dyer's book, Inspiration, Your Ultimate Calling. Wayne suggests that we listen to the winds, to the critters, to the clouds, the rains, and the ocean. Listen to it all. So as we enjoy this peaceful beauty of nature, I'd like to share with you the Chinook Blessing Litany that reveals the Native American awareness of the language of spirit inherent in all of nature. We call upon the earth, our planet home, with its beautiful depths and soaring heights, its vitality and abundance of life. And together we ask that it teach us and show us the way. We call upon the mountains, the Cascades and Olympics, the high green valleys and meadows filled with wildflowers, the snows that never melt, the summits of intense silence, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the waters that rim the earth, horizon to horizon, that flow in our rivers and streams, that fall upon our gardens and fields. And we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the land which grows our food, the nurturing soil, the fertile fields, and the abundant gardens and orchards. And we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the forests, the great trees reaching strongly to the sky, with earth in their roots and heavens in their branches, the fir and the pine and the cedar, and we ask them to teach us and show us the way. We call upon the creatures of the fields and forests and the seas, our brothers and sisters, the wolves and deer, the eagle and dove, the great whales and the dolphin, the beautiful orca and salmon who share our Northwest home, and we ask them to teach us and show us the way. We call upon the moon and the stars and the sun, who govern the rhythms and seasons of our lives and remind us that we are a part of a great and wondrous universe. And we ask them to teach us and show us the way. And lastly, we call upon all that we hold most sacred, the presence and power of the Great Spirit of love and truth which flows through all the universe, to be with us, to teach us and show us the way. Amen. Indeed, nature has much to teach us, and it will help show the way. All we need to do is to align with its perfection and note how it aligns with ours.
Thank you, Sharon. That was beautiful. Nice visual. Good morning. The daily word for today is kindness. And the affirmation is, I am love in action, sharing acts of kindness. It is my nature to be kind. Divine love is inherent within me, part of my spiritual identity. Opportunities abound to be kind, and I hold that intention today. Ideas will fill my mind, perhaps as a nudge to call a neighbor, send a note, extend a smile, or give a compliment. Practicing kindness includes sharing my gifts and talents in ways that allow me to express my individuality by giving of myself. Focusing on kindness, I am patient in all my dealings and resist easy judgments and prejudices. I am keenly aware that challenging situations can frustrate me, but I also welcome them as occasions to call upon my higher self as a loving and peaceful being. The more I practice kindness, the more easily it becomes the song of my heart and my way of life. And from Zechariah 7:9, render true judgments, show kindness and mercy to one another.
Well, I didn't know the title of your lesson this morning, but just your being here reminded me of a song that I wrote right after John Lewis passed away, and I thought it might be appropriate this morning. This is taken from something he said. I heard him say. Let's see. weight's too heavy of a burden, gotta lay it down. Lay it down. Lay it down. Weight's too heavy of a burden, gonna lay it down. Gonna lay that burden down. Love's a mighty force and a power, gotta lift it up. Lift it up. Lift it up. Love's a mighty force and a power, gotta lift it up. Gotta lift up power of love. And hate's too heavy of a burden, gonna lay it down. Lay it down. Lay it down. Hate's too heavy of a burden, gonna lay it down. Gonna lay that burden down. Come on, Jeff. I gotta make some good trouble. John Lewis showed us how. Yes, he showed us how. Oh, he showed us how. You got to make some good trouble. John Lewis showed us how. Oh, he showed us how. Oh, hate's too heavy of a burden, gonna lay it down. Lay it down. Lay it down. Hate's too heavy of a burden, gonna lay it down. Gonna lay that burden down. Gonna lay that burden down. Gonna lay that burden down.
Woo. I love that. I love it. I love it. With Sky away visiting, having family time, we have a guest speaker today, and that is Reverend Ron English. He is the president of the NAACP, and he is a very dynamic speaker. Today, his topic is It's Time to Rest, Sabbath. So let's give a warm unity welcome to Ron English. You do need to use the mic for Zoom.
First, I want to say how good it is to be here. And I appreciate that message from John Lewis. But I also appreciate the two readings that came before, particularly your reading, where you almost anticipated what I'm going to preach, because you talked about in the garden, you take time to breathe. In the garden, you take time to breathe and be conscious of the breathing. That's what I want to talk about this morning. Because Sabbath time is a time to rest. And I want to call your attention to the 2 commandments that only give instructions on what to do. The rest tell you what not to do. One of those commandments says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long in the land. That's number 4. But number 3 says, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. It's often said, remember the Sabbath day, but Sabbath is not a day. It's an experience. So therefore, when you are talking about remembering the Sabbath, it's a bigger reference for remembering than remembering it to come in and go through the worship experience and leave until the next Sabbath or until the next Sunday. There are often arguments between Baptists and Seventh-day Adventists and other folk about which day really ought to mark the Sabbath. And that's because the notion is that it's confined to 24 hours. But when we remember the Sabbath, then we become in touch with how the Sabbath is God's time. That's Chronos. Our time is known by the Greek word kairos, K-A-I-R-O-S. That's our time. Chronos, C-H-O-R-O-S, is God's time because it deals with, Chronos is clock time, but kairos is God's time. Remember, the Sabbath is a cosmic tonic for our situation when times seem out of joint and men have lost their reason. Remember, the Sabbath is a tonic for our situation where connections are grievously disrupted through social media, Facebook, TikTok, all of which have participated in the senseless killing in public squares, have stirred our fears in public spaces, have troubled us on every side, almost to the point of making it difficult to find a reason to rejoice. The stress and distress of our days is revealed in the conflict in our community, the division in our country, the disasters in the climate. But this 3rd commandment is the one of the 2 that gives us a reason to rejoice, as well as a way of understanding the meaning of the Sabbath rest. God stopped creating after the 6th day, not because God needed a break, but to celebrate. The word said, God saw that it was good. After he created man, God looked upon all of his creation and said, it is very good. That's why when I heard the references to creation and all of what we experience when we just look around us and take time to take it in, then we too can speak and say, it is very good. James Weldon Johnson, the black poet laureate, concludes his classic poem called God's Trombones by this description of what happened in creation. He said that at the end of the 6th day, this great God kneeled down in the dust, toiling over a lump of clay. Then he shaped it in his own image and then blew into the breath of life. And man became a living soul. Richard Roy helped me to understand that differently and deeply, because he said, and he reminded me something that what I heard a rabbi said, but he just deepened it a little bit more. The insight came from a rabbi who said that the Hebrew word for God is Yahweh. Y-W-H-Y-W-Y-H, Yahweh, no vowels. So when you speak that word, you cannot close your mouth. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. That means it's a breath mantra. In breath is Yah, out breath, way. From that he says, and I'm laughing because I always find myself breaking out in tears when I think about that and when I feel that. He said that means that from the time that we were born until the time that we die, we are sharing God's breath. From the time, every breath that you take, from the time we are born to the time that we die, we are sharing God's breath. That changed the way that I give committal services at the graveside, because it used to be a committal service that said we look to the general resurrection and the time that has come where we will be able to join in that great chorus and see friends. I don't do that anymore. What I do now is to share with the family that we are here for a celebration of a circle that is complete. We are here to celebrate the life that shared God's breath while he or she lived. And now that breath has returned to the source that gave it. So therefore, that is a circle of life that is the reason for celebrating even death in that moment, because it is just returning to the God who gave it. Every day of our moment, what keeps us alive is sharing God's breath. Remembering the Sabbath is not just to remember what God did in creation, but it is to remember how we are created not only in his image, but to share his breath. Now, there's a second reason to remember the Sabbath. It comes from the Hebrew word, which literally means to cease. Just as God ceased his creation work, we are to cease from our work. Now, there was a time, many of y'all remember, because we run about, we are in the same age category. Y'all remember when they used to close up the liquor stores on Sunday? And they didn't open until after 2 o'clock on Sunday, you know. But such days have been over a long time ago. Because in our time, who's got the time to even think about time out? We put focus on no time to waste. We got to make up for lost time. And it seems like to cease work does not mean to cease praise. We talk about time as though it is a commodity that we can choose to use, when in fact time uses us. We are time bound, yet we somehow think we can cheat time as if time is at our disposal. God as creator still moves and controls on time, in time, because all he has got is time, and he shares it with us by sharing his breath. The old saints in my church used to say, you can't hurry God, you just have to wait. He's a God that you can't hurry, but he'll be there. Don't you worry. And then, thirdly, remember the Sabbath is an invitation to enter God's rest stop. It is an affirmation and a celebration that it's all right to rest. And in the time that we are so hurried, sometimes we kind of put some notion that we ain't got time to rest because it's too much work to get done. We got to do this, we got to do, it's too much work. It's time to rest. The old saints said, you can't hurry God. So remember the Sabbath, it's an invitation to enter God's rest stop, to be refreshed and revived, because to ignore rest stops is risky and dangerous. Been there, done that. My cat, Cubby, and that's an interesting story behind Cubby. She's black, gold, and white, which happen to be the colors of my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. But I had a dog named Prince. He was a combination collie and shepherd. He was black, gold, and white. But Prince got killed by the only truck that he ever chased, and that was a mail truck. And I was grieved by that, but I didn't even want to bury Prince. I just wanted to keep his spirit. And then about 3 years ago, my daughter had a friend that had a breed of calico cats. And that's when I got the calico cat that I'd call Cubby. I had a painting drawn of Prince because I just had that much love for the memory. And then my cat jumped up on the table under the picture of Tracy, Prince, and looked up as though to say, I'm in charge here now. Anybody that has a cat knows that you don't train cats. Cats train you. And my cat Cubby has done two things. First of all, she showed me how to rest. And in terms, because whenever you look at a cat, that's the only thought that's on your mind. Everything else fades away. It really comes like, I see you and you see me, and we are connected in that moment, and everything else goes away. For that brief moment of just looking at a cat, because there is nothing else to think about. That's her blessing. But then the other thing is about cats, when they get up, they move so quickly, and they find all kinds of hiding places. You can't path where they're going to go. You can't. It might be up in the roof, might be in the basement, might be on the chair, whatever. You just know it when they are moving. And so it seems like they have enough understanding of what it means to rest, that their spirits are revived by their resting. After her rest stop, she shows up with a spurt and a sprint, and there's no catching up. Remember, the Sabbath is a command, but it is also an invitation to come breathe with me and be revived, be renewed in the body, in the mind, and in the spirit. And then finally, when we share God's breath, it sustains life, but there's more. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy means to take time out to rest in His presence, in His place of worship, as you have chosen to come here. But remember the Sabbath because from the time that we are born and to the time we die, we have a reason to rejoice because we are sharing God's breath. And so we are invited to rest in the presence of the Eternal, who gives us joy for the journey and strength to carry on. Remember, the Sabbath reminds us to put God in the driver's seat. Have you ever seen those license plates that said, God is my co-pilot? Yeah. Well, I saw another license plate that said, if God is your co-pilot, you need to exchange seats. You got that right? If God is your co-pilot, you need to exchange seats and put Him in the driver's seat. Remember, the Sabbath gives us a pause to God's call and calling. And then you might have a reason to rejoice. In the words of one of those songs that come from my heritage and helps us to sing, I got a feeling that everything is going to be all right. I got a feeling that everything is going to be all right. Remember the Sabbath, and at God's rest stop, you might discover a reason to rejoice and a way to recover and to realize that we have a reason to rejoice because we have found out that we are already blessed. Every time we intake His breath, we are saying, and we are rejoicing, and we are celebrating that we are already blessed. And if He doesn't do any more, He's already done enough. Thank God that from the first time that we breathe to the last breath that we take, and when we take time out to enter God's rest stop, in the experience of Sabbath to refresh our minds and renew our spirits, we carry on and we are living every day, every moment, with the joy that we are sharing God's breath.
Will the ushers please come forward? Let us say our offering blessing together. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I trust God, and I am grateful.
If you see your brother standing by the road with a heavy load from the seeds he sowed, and if you see your sister falling by the way, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. You've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, and then you overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people, of the narrow-minded sea. Don't walk around the down and out. Lend a helping hand instead of die. And the kindness that you show every day will help someone along the way. And if you try a little kindness, yes, show a little kindness, just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, and then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded sea. Oh, you've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, and then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded sea, of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded sea.
Let us pray. Positive prayer aligns our minds with the mind of God and opens us to the expression of God's abundant good for the betterment of ourselves and all of creation. Reverend Hypatia Hasbrook reminds us to thankfully, confidently, and joyfully claim our good as heirs to God. So today we rejoice and give thanks for this beautiful church, which you support with your gifts and offerings, each of our loving members, attendees, and those watching on Zoom and YouTube. And we give thanks in advance that through God's abundance, all our needs are met. And for this, we are abundantly grateful. Amen.
Amen.
Let's form our circle for the peace song.
A lot of birthdays. Mary Ann's is today. And then, let's see here. We also have Deb Meredith, Jeannie Cochran, Ernie Kessel, Meredith Foster, and Dewey Lester. All those birthdays are this week. So we're going to sing happy birthday to them. And I want to remind you, Sharon is our prayer chaplain today, and she'll be hanging out up here. If you would like a short unity prayer, she is available.
Happy